Okay, welcome back. So, Comrade Festus Osifo joins us, President of TUC in Pengerson. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chamberlain. Good morning, Maokbe.
Wow,
good morning, Nigerians.
What a day it is. So now we're grappling with another strike. I know you already heard the responses from government and several other people about what they think of the strike. First of all, they say, look, this is not in government's, I beg your pardon, this is not in Nigerian workers' interest. This strike is a personal thing for Labour.
Yeah, I think that is where they've always missed it. That is where they've always got it wrong from the onset. You know, for you to think that the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress will be brutalized the way the way he was brutalized in Owerri, and you are now saying this is personal for us, I think this is completely wrong. Even if the Nigerian Labour Congress president went to Owerri, went to a party in Owerri, and he was assaulted by the Nigerian police, there will be reaction. Talk less of the fact that he went to Owerri in pursuance of the decision of the organ of NLC. NLC made a decision in their organs meeting that this particular subject should be pushed to the, to conclusion. So he went there, not him alone. He did not go there alone. He went there with some other presidents of different trade unions. CWC members of NLC, they were also members of TUC that also accompanied him in that particular trip. So he did not go there in his personal capacity. Even if it was his personal capacity, then there would have still be reaction. But he went there on an official capacity, in pursuant of the decision of the NEC. Then they are saying it's personal. For us, that's where the government completely got it wrong by trying to mix this with politics. For us, completely what went wrong in Owerri should be addressed, and they should forget about the political connotation that they are trying to bring into this entire.
Did you hear the comments of the governor? He says, look, as far as he's concerned, from his own records, 98% of the workers there are paid. He says he doesn't owe 98% of them, and that the issues that Labour is talking about is clearly not in sync with what they find on the state.
So if that was true, so sometime in May this year, the government reached an MOU with Labour. So the MOU was very clear that, okay, there will be a tripartite arrangement that will put in place so that all parties will sit down and look at the issues one after the other. It was signed by the SGF, the secretary to the state government. So he signed the MOU on behalf of the government. In that meeting, you had the permanent secretaries. In that meeting, you had the state actors in that meeting. So if there weren't any issues, why were they shying away from bringing all the parties together? So on several occasions, we have written to them. Like as we said, this issue started since 2021. That now led to the first MOU in 2021. It wasn't honored. Then the second MOU just in May this year, that the secretary to the Imo State Governor, was in that meeting. And at the end of the day, an MOU was reached. But today, nothing was done. So if there was no issue, why was it running away for us to have conversation?
What in that MOU has not been honored?
Yeah. So the MOU literally said that because we raised several issues. One, issues about pay to workers, then issues of declaring workers as ghost workers, even when those workers were going to work on a daily basis. But they said they were ghost workers. What literally happened was that the Imo State Government, when he came aboard, this governor, he literally said the amount of money he's going to be paying to workers every month. So literally said it. So when he did that, then once he gets to that amount, the others, they will not pay them. They will call them ghost workers. And so he was doing that. When Labour will shout, he will not nationalize. So if this month he paid, let's say, 5,000 workers, then next month he will remove 1,000 and bring additional 1,000. So when we discovered this, we said no, because our members, they cried to us. We now said no, that this is literally wrong and this should be addressed. So all these were put on the table on that particular day in May. And an MOU was signed off that we would have conversation after then. A timeline was also set. But there was no conversation whatsoever, even when we wrote to them on multiple occasions. So it's very convenient for the governor to come out today and say that 90% of the workers were paid.
How come the governor is saying that, look, there's been no communication between him and the Labour leadership, national Labour leadership, that he's open for communication? Nothing whatsoever has happened between them.
Okay, Chamberlain, if I leave this studio, I will get that MOU and I will send the MOU to you so that you will see that there was a meeting in May. So for the governor to come out and be lying to Nigerians, I'm really surprised. There were meetings in May that was attended by the secretary to the state government. I mean, Secretary of State Government is one of the pillars of government. He was there in the meeting. And in that meeting, the Secretary General of Trade Union Congress was there, likewise of the NLC. So we all sat down and had the conversation and we reached that MOU. But today, nothing was done. So all effort that was made to the government to say, okay, honor this MOU that you have signed, he doesn't even reply anybody. He doesn't even care.
The Comrade Adamu Shomole, now a senator, former governor, also spoke on some of these matters. So I'd like you to just listen to what he said, and then let's get your response to it.
As we speak, we have states that are not paying 30,000. And those states are not being mobilized to go on strike. The federal government had granted 35,000 naira increase, right? And those discussions were supposed to be for and on behalf of not only the federal government, but on behalf of all workers in Nigeria, including those employed by local governments and state governments. And the additional revenue accruing from the withdrawal of subsidy trickles out to the states and to the local government. Now, I would wish that somebody at the NSC recognize that the hunger in the stomach of federal employees is not any worse than the hunger in the stomach of those state employees, not those local government employees. If these are the issues on the table, even as a senator, I will publicly support any action against any government that think that we should lament away our hunger and why the people do what they do. Unfortunately, this strike is not about those issues. And I think we have to be careful not to mix our political opinion with our responsibilities, because the issues confronting workers are so many that they should become the priority. Not, I want Labour to, we cannot be apolitical, because politics is about the people. And I have argued when I was in NLC that nobody has a right to be partisan, much more than those who turn the wheel of our industrial progress. But it's saying that we must recognize that however hard you try, when it comes to politics, people are going to have different reasons for supporting different candidates. And you have to be careful not to be seen to be doing the bidding of a particular candidate or a particular political party.
What do you think of that?
Yes, our senior comrade, Adamu Shomole, you know, you give opinion based on the information that you have. You know, today he's a senator, so he's busy with national politics. So I think he does not have sufficient information. So maybe after here, we'll give him as much information as possible once he reaches out, because I think he went to the villa to meet with them in the villa. So that could be the information that they have given to him in the villa. Has he spoken with Joe Ajero? Has he spoken with the senior labor leaders in the country to also have their opinion on what this subject is? Because again, you must always balance opinion, because we must be careful to run with single
Has he spoken with your leadership? I mean, your union?
No, we have not had conversation with him.
So what is he missing there?
Yeah, because clearly what Ajero went to do in Owerri was not politics. It wasn't politics. The organ of NLC that took that decision, they were not political. I mean, when we call for organ meetings, you could see robust debates that goes into it. When, I mean, a particular, the neck of these bodies are over 200-300 people of diverse experience, people of diverse culture, who does not even know about the little politics taking place in a particular place. So the problem is that when the neck takes decision, putting everything together, as a leader, you have to champion it. As a leader, you have to implement. And I think our senior comrade, Adamu Shomole, is quite aware of this. So basically, maybe the information he got from the villa was that he went there to play politics, but I will tell him that clearly our senior comrades, that was not the case.
You know, I have listened, and I think I've also asked questions, and I think well, even if they are misconstrued, so be it. But, you know, you've said this is not politics, and you know, even you call him senior comrade, he says there's nobody that has even more right to be political than the labor unions that turn the industrial wheel. That's what he said. And that they can be political, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because if you look at the time that Labour chose to go and stage this protest, it was during a political season. Imo State was about to elect a governor for another 4-year term, for a new 4-year term, as the case might be. And that was the time that Labour chose to go and, make the point that, look, you're owing workers salaries and we want this paid. In such a time when you know that could either sway opinion for or against a particular candidate in an election, would you say that it was totally apolitical?
Yeah, so we should, in May, there was a protest in Imo in May. Mm-hmm. There was a protest in Imo in May. It did not yield result. There was another protest in Imo somewhere around August. So it's not that the Labour Congress folded their arms and waited till November 1st. No, this has been on. It has been on over this period. Like as we said, it started in 2001. So now, if, for example, we did that sometime in May, we did that sometime in August, and we are coming again to press home our demand, that does not give anybody any monopoly of right to perpetuate the level of thuggery that was meted to the NLC president. Yes, I understand. We could have said, okay, why going there 2 weeks to election? But the question that you could ask is that, when we are championing causes like this, there are issues that because if you look at it, May 11th was the election, right? And the protest was on the 1st. So that's close to 2 weeks to the particular election that we are making reference to. It wasn't the eve of the election. It wasn't 2 days or 3 days or 4 days to election. Even if it was a month, Maokwe, people could have still said, mostly those in power, could have said that it was also politics. In fact, when we went there in May, we also learned, because the governor and his people also granted interviews. They said, no, that is because of the election that is coming. So truly, what is the right time? If you go there after election, they are also going to tell us that it's because your candidate lost the election and that you are going to incite the people against the government. So what time is truly right, Maokwe?
So what's the way forward now? Because if the Imo State government continues and you're about to hold the entire nation to ransom as a result of what has happened in Imo State, let me get this right. Is it about what has happened in Imo State or what has happened to the Labour leader, Mr. Joe Ajaero?
Yes, it's actually because of what has happened to the brutalization of a Labour leader. Like as we have said, Ajaero is an individual, but he represents an institution. NLC is an institution that is rooted in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Like the allusions I have made here and there, that today, for example, if you have a president of a country assaulted in another country, it could lead to even war. You will not be able to now pick and choose and say, no, the president was assaulted in a border, so let's limit it to that border. No, because for us, Ajaero is represents a national institution, and the people that brutalized him, they were led by the Nigerian police. And the Nigerian police is a national institution. Do you know that since this has happened, there is no single, until yesterday, there is no single statement from the federal government. So for us, it is fundamentally wrong. When the police, it was Thursday the other week that we now came to, we led our members to the police headquarters. That was when the police now told us that they will set up a panel to investigate. So practically, this happened on the 1st of November. On the 3rd of November, we issued a threat that we'll go on national strike if some certain things are not done on the 8th. On the 7th, as patriotic Nigerians, we decided to sheath our sword. We now shifted it by additional 1 week. The reason why you give time lines before you go on strike, the reason why you give strike notice is to get the government institutions to act. So that was why we gave 1 week, but when they were not forthcoming, we gave additional 1 week. But until yesterday, that was when they started reaching out. That is not how to govern, and that is not how to lead a state.
I think it must be very clearly said that, what has happened to the Labour leader, to the NLC president, Comrade Joe Ajaero, is totally condemnable. As a journalist and I think as a media house, I can very categorically say that that is not something that we support. And the questions that we pose to you are just the questions that we need to pose to you.
Sure.
I'm just wondering, if the state government continues to deny, they continue to deny that, they do not owe any workers. They continue to say, we're not exactly, the NLC president did not play his cards right. That's why he was assaulted. We condemn what happened. However you read it, whether it is half-heartedly or wholeheartedly, condemn it. I don't know what the progress is going to be. When will the NLC and the TUC now say, okay, our point has been made with the strike that we've embarked upon, we will call this off, and that will be that?
Yes, the point really is that the issues in Imo are local. So the issues, if it was those issues alone in Imo, we have issues with different state government. We go to different states to carry out protests. We were TUC, we were in Lagos State at the time, sometime in September, to protest the issues of retail, right? So we did not snowball the issue of retail in Lagos to a national strike. We don't always do that. But as we were in Lagos, for example, then you now have the police, the Nigerian police, brutalizing people there. And those who are supposed to act at the federal level, they are not acting. That's the challenge. So we are not using this strike to solve the problem in Imo, no. If you check our communique, what we have said is that Nigerian police, they led the brutalization of Comrade Joe Ajaero. So now, we want those people to be apprehended. They know them. We know their names. In fact, some of the people that led this, they work for the Imo State Governor. We know them. The area commander that led this, he must be apprehended. So this is not difficult to achieve. So when we started pushing all this, there were no single comment from the Nigerian state. But since yesterday, we have been having some conversations. Once we progress those conversations and we see clearly that they are serious to bring these people to book, they are serious to hold them to account, then, of course, we would let go.
But the federal government has said, the Inspector General of Police has spoken. And indeed, the Inspector General of Police spoke the eve before the elections, the eve of the elections, saying that, the CP, under whose watch this thing happened, has been transferred out of the state. And that there's an investigation being conducted into what happened. Shouldn't have been enough for the NLC.
The day this thing happened, the Inspector General of Police, in fact, they were even in the same hotel with Joe Ajaero. We knew some of the comments that senior police officers made that day. Commissioner of Police several commissioners of police, they were there for retreat. So several commissioners of police that our people met on that day, we knew their comments that this was a state-sponsored terrorism. It was very clear. So some of these people, we know their names, they know them. So the Inspector General of Police in this particular subject is also compromised. So what we are saying is that the office of the NSA should lead this investigation. It should not even be the Inspector General of Police. They should set up, because yes, we have trust in him. Because in this particular subject, we also feel that the IGP is compromised. So let there be a team of DSS, a team of all the state agencies that is going to lead this investigation. Because if you leave it only for the Inspector General of Police, I will tell you that nothing is going to come forth. Because he was there that day in the state when this matter was even reported to them. They were all there in Owerri. They were even in the same hotel with our comrades that were there in Owerri. They did not swing it to action. They knew clearly what has happened. So he's compromised.
All right. But what about the narrative that Labour is in clear violation of court order for this particular strike?
Yeah, Chamberlain, when we talk about court order, for us, first, our senior comrade that spoke earlier, when he was leading us in the Labour movement, he clearly referred to such orders as black market injunctions. But first of all, we were not served. We don't have, as we speak today, we don't have service of any court order. So when you procure court order, even if you procure it at midnight, you need to serve it on the party. And I will tell you that we clearly don't have any, they should bring proof of service of any court order to both TUC and NLC. We don't have any.
So if you have a court order, you call off the strike?
We'll speak with our lawyer. When we have the court order, we speak with our lawyer, we examine it, and if that is the right thing for us to do, we do. And again, we also want to pass this as well, because, yesterday, someone asked me in the passing about the court order. We said, yes, we don't have a service of a court order, but that we have a state, a government today who perpetually does not even obey court orders. We have government today. How many court orders have we seen when DSS was holding Emefiele? How many court orders was passed for Emefiele to be released? We could count them, countless number of them. We have a state who refuses to obey court order. You now expect others to even obey the court order. But once we see it, we are responsible institutions. We will not say because federal government continuously violate court orders, we will examine it, and if it is right thing for us to do, yes, we will.
Ayo.
How about, thank you, Chamberlain. How would you respond, Mr. Sifo, when someone says you actually have the court order, but you are denying it just so it makes it look like you are doing the right thing since you don't have the court order?
Ayo, when you have, when you serve an order, someone will sign for it, right? In most cases, you will stamp it and you receive it, right? So as of today, there is nothing like that. There was nobody in the offices of both the NLC and TUC, because in our next meeting, we also examined this. There is nobody in the office of TUC and NLC that has received this court order or signed for such court order. We don't have the court order today. And I want to tell government that we should be much more sincere in the things we do. It's not when issues are raised. When issues are raised, ultimatums are given in the eve of the strike. You will not run to court to procure a court order. No, I think that is the wrong approach. The wrong approach to industrial relations. When you are given timelines, you are given 2 weeks notice of a strike, you should do everything possible to engage. We have said the Ministry of Labour, it is their purview. It is in their purview to kickstart such engagement. And I will tell you that as of today, there is no single communication from them. You should not wait that, because we can go and procure court order, then we have to disregard them. We wait until the eve of the commencement of the action. You will not go and procure an order. No. That is not how to go about industrial relations.
Well, the conversation may go to that particular court order again, but there was something that's come up in your conversation with my colleagues with you right there. But just to be clear, just so there is no ambiguity, why has the NLC and TUC called this total strike?
Yeah, I think I talked about that earlier as well. The strike was called because of the brutalization of Comrade Joe Ajaero by the Nigerian police in Owerri. That was why the strike was called. Because Joe Ajaero went to Owerri on an official assignment. Joe Ajaero represents an institution, the Nigerian Labour Congress. And the Nigerian Labour Congress, the word connotes Nigeria. It is not Imo Labour Congress. And, it happened May 1st. We did not just call for strike, it happened November 1st. We did not call for strike on the 2nd. We did not call for strike on the 3rd. We gave almost 2 weeks for government and the state actors to act. But within this period, there was no engagement whatsoever. Within this period, there was no even remorse from the government. So, because Joe Ajaero is a national, represents NLC as an institution nationally, and because it was the police, the Nigerian police, that did this to Joe Ajaero, or that led the mob that attacked Joe Ajaero. So that is why we are making it a national issue.
All right. We'll take that up, the rest of it, when we return from this break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Well, Mr. Sifo, now that it is clear, you've answered that question earlier, and I asked it again just for ambiguity in case anyone lost track of it. Now that you are saying that this strike was called because of the brutalization of, the NLC president, as Mark said, the Labour is not the only one caught in the fray. Some of our colleagues were also caught in the fray. So it's not a question of whether or not anyone is in support of anyone. We're asking these questions because, as Mr. Adam Soshomole said earlier, there are other issues that could have taken the attention of Labour. According to budget, for instance, at least 15 states are not paying the minimum wage. In 2022, a strike was suggested by the leadership of the NLC at the time that those states that aren't getting the minimum wage should go on strike. 2023 October, at least 15 states are still not getting the minimum wage. Isn't that ground sufficient or significant enough for action, as opposed to Imo State, which, unless you're saying that Imo State is also not paying the minimum wage?
What Imo State is doing, the crime what is happening in Imo is even much more than the issue of minimum wage. When you say a state is not paying minimum wage, at least people that are legitimately working, legitimate workers are not declared as ghost workers. Because do you know what that is? Someone that goes to work every month. So at the end of a month, he receives nothing. And this happened for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But for the one that is not paying minimum wage, for example, somebody still has something to go home with, although it is against the law. If you check, there are several states that you may not know. It may not gain national attention. The reason the Imo is gaining national attention today is probably because it became a national issue. So there are lots of these states that we have done. In fact, there are some states that we have had 3 months continuous strike. There are some states that we have had 4 months continuous strike, that we have had series of protests in the past. A state like Kogi, for example, we have took up the governor on this, the government on several occasions. So at the end of the day, it is not just the issue of Imo alone. It is an issue that we have advocated in several of these states. Just as been said by Senior Comrade Adamu Soshomole earlier, that the issue of 35,000 naira that was announced by the federal government, that some of the states today, as we speak today, the state councils, they are all engaging their government. A state like Oyo has made pronouncement. I think a state like Lagos have also made pronouncement. So some of these states, even a lot of states in the Northwest, they are currently meeting because we're giving them deadlines for them to also implement. Those that cannot do 35,000, some of them have said they will do 30,000, and some of them have started implementing. Some said they will do 25,000, and even though they said they will do 25,000, they have started implementing. So in some of these states, the questions were now, are we going to backdate till September or October? Some of the states have agreed that, okay, they will start doing from October, and from this November, people will start receiving the extra top-up. So these are all the efforts. So if you follow up closely, there are a lot of states that we have had strike for a very long time. At times, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, we'll be on the table having conversations with them, and workers will also be at home. This has happened in states. This has happened across several sectors in the labor movement. So it is not just about Imo. But the issue of Imo became much more prominent because of the fact that workers were declared as ghost workers even when they go to work on a daily basis. That for us is even much more grievous.
Has there been any investigation by the NLC and TUC to validate or verify the claims of the Imo State government? That question is asked because for a government to be saying that there are ghost workers, there has to be some evidence from Labour to the contrary. So what kind of engagement or even research or findings of Labour to the effect have you had? What were the processes through which these individuals got into government in the first place for them to expect to get paid? What kind of findings did the Labour get to validate the fact that the Imo State government is being untrue or unfair?
Yes, in Labour, we have a very robust research department. And what we did, when we bring an allegation based on the evidence and the facts that we have, to say that, okay, based on this information we have, based on the facts submitted to us, we think that what you are doing is wrong. Then on the part of government, They will now say, no, what they are doing is also right, correct? So both parties will now sit down together to have a conversation. So when we get to such conversations, we bring our facts. In fact, the individuals, they are also there. So people that go to, the employment letter, when they were employed, the last pay, when we bring everything, then on the part of government, they have to also corroborate what they did. Then at the end, we will reach a middle point and we will reach a truce. But, like I said earlier, we signed an MOU with the Imo State Government to say that, okay, this subject that we have agitated about, this subject that we have pushed over this period, let us sit down and have a conversation. So an MOU was signed in May. So the question now is that, how come the Imo State Government, they have been evasive? So all these things that you have talked about would have been resolved if both parties now come together. For example, we bring the employment letter, we bring the confirmation letters, we bring these information that we have. Then we now say, no, this information that you have is not correct based on our own findings. Then we also look at what they are presenting. Then we will have a middle point. But this has not been done. We had an agreement to get this done. We reached a truce to get this done. But the Imo State government, they have been evasive. Okay. That is the crux of the matter. Okay, two more questions from me. One, are you saying that the governor of Imo State, Governor Uzodimma, in the statement he made while we were on break, is untrue? Are you saying that the governor is lying? It's very clear. Ask the governor, did the representative of your government, did they sign an MOU with Labour? Ask him. So if the answer was yes, okay, in that MOU, we said we are going to set up a committee to meet. So ask him as well if that meeting has ever been held. This same governor said nobody has contacted him. This same governor said nobody reached out to him. But several letters have been sent to him. An MOU was signed. So for an MOU to have been signed, was it ghosts that went there? They were individuals led from the two centers, NLC and TUC, at the federal level. We went there and we had a conversation. So ask him. So if an MOU was signed and the government is not saying nobody has contacted him, then, me and you, we could deduce who is lying. It's very simple. There is nothing to contest.
You haven't quite answered that question. Are you saying that the governor is lying?
But I've just said that clearly, that what the governor is saying is completely not true. He is lying. Yes, he is lying. It's very clear. He's lying.
Okay, one more thing. Many people wonder why we have not heard anything, not even any action, from the labor movement in Imo State. We understand that there has been removal and counter-removal, and then when further asked here in the studio, one of the things your representatives told us was that there is a caretaker committee of labor in Imo State. Why are we not hearing anything from that fellow?
Yes, it's very clear. If you want to talk to them, if you want to interview both the chairman of NLC and the chairman of TUC in Imo State, we will bring them to your studio. The strike that we are doing, they have also issued circulars. We can also forward the circulars to you. So if you want their phone numbers as well, we could also make their phone numbers available as well. Because these are individual, both the TUC executive in Imo, they are substantive executive, while that of the NLC is caretaker, because the Imo State Governor refused an election to be held. Because they sent talks to the secretariat on the day the election was supposed to be held. They took away lots of equipment belonging to the NLC and they drove everybody away, so they couldn't hold the election. But that of TUC, we have a substantive executive of TUC in Imo. If you want to speak to them, we could send you their contact and you have conversations with them. As we speak today, they've also issued a notice of strike as well. So.
All right. So I think we'll follow through with that one. But just before you go, is it right because we saw some of those images, Labour was forcing banks and workers to close. I thought it's supposed to be, voluntary and not force people to embark on that strike.
Yes, again, when actions like this happen, we at the leadership level, when we receive reports, we'll continuously review them. But if there are members of the Labour, members of any of the affiliates of Labour working there, you have the right to ask your member to go home. So if there are members of maybe as Bifi or Nui Bifi who are the unions in the banks, if they were in such banks, you have the right to ask them to go home.
But not forcing them to go. It's asking.
No,
like forcing.
We are saying that they brutalize us. Labour does not brutalize anybody. But we ask our members to go home.
Okay, so if you ask them and they choose to stay, they can stay.
Yes, because we have other means of disciplining our members, yes, outside forcing them. We won't force them.
So one more thing then, when electricity workers go on strike, will they leave the lights on?
Yes, so it depends, because again, if you are going on strike and you assess your environment, you discover that it will be unsafe for you to leave the entire plant on while you are away, then it's better you take care of it. Because just imagine, if you have some critical equipment and you leave them like that, before you come back, you could have fire, you could have some issues. So in such case, yeah, they will be taken care of.
I understand ASU is joining the strike in solidarity, is that right?
Yes, so on our part, what we are doing is that we are scaling up. We are scaling up the strike on a daily basis because we want government to act. Yes, of course.
But Labour didn't join ASU in solidarity when they were on strike some time ago for almost 8 months for no salaries not paid.
There was a protest, if you remember. NLC led a protest when that happened. The protest was led successfully here in Abuja. I think that was somewhere around last year, July. There was a protest from NLC when that happened. And there were a lot of engagement as well. And even till today, if you look at the communique that we have signed, even with the federal government, you could see the line of ASU. We are still pressuring federal government to do what is right.
All right, then, Comrade Festus Osifo, President of Trade Union Congress, and Pengasin, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much, Ambali.
All right, we'll be back in a moment. Stay on with us.